G'day everyone, I'm David Reidy. Welcome to Piano Finally, a podcast by an old bloke who's getting around to learning the piano. Finally. Welcome to show number 88. Thank you very much for joining me for the show. If you're a regular listener, then thanks for returning. But if this is the first time you're hearing the podcast, I hope you enjoy what's here. And if you do like what you hear, please consider subscribing. Are you also learning a musical instrument? If you are, let me know how you're going with it. You can contact me at david@pianofinally.show. I mentioned last week that I had organised to get some singing lessons to help with the choir I've joined. The first one was last Monday, on the way from work to my piano lesson. It went well. We spent a lot of time working out where I want to go with the singing, and some simple exercises to see what's working properly and what is still showing some damage from the radiation treatment years ago. Suzanne thinks that it should be possible to get things sounding better, so that's good news. I'm going to continue with Monday lessons, and we'll see where I end up. We're starting with Tracy Chapman's Fast Car, as it's one of the quiet tracks that is comfortably in my range. Don't worry, the progress section at the end of the show will remain piano only for a while yet. Back when I first started the podcast, I mentioned the Australian violin duo TwoSet Violin. Eddie and Brett developed a huge YouTube following with their combination of excellent violin playing and their comedy act. They took a break for a while and disappeared from the scene. But they've been back for a while now and have announced a world tour. I've got tickets to see them in Sydney. I'll put a link in the show notes if you want to try to get to a show. I mostly enjoy the content that Rick Beato puts up on YouTube. Rick has been in the music industry for many years and knows and works with some of the biggest names. He has opinions about music and the industry that not everyone agrees with, and he can be a little too vehement sometimes, but he's always worth watching. In a video this week, the Top 10 Greatest Guitar Songs on Piano, Rick teams up with Pierre Piscitelli to play piano versions of a range of songs originally written for the guitar. I should say that Pierre plays them. Rick just provides commentary. Pierre's channel had just under 100,000 subscribers, and I think Rick was doing him a favour by hosting him on his channel. Rick has over 5 million subscribers, and it worked. Pierre is now over the 100,000 mark, and his YouTube plaque will be coming. Regardless of the motivation, though, this is a fun video that is worth watching. The songs are from Guns N' Roses, Rush, and Metallica to start. With each track, Pierre plays the piano, and then he and Rick briefly talk about the piece and why it works so well on the piano. There's no score shown, but if you like the track, I'm sure you can pick up the sheet music from one of the legitimate online score suppliers and then follow along with Pierre's playing. In each case, Pierre plays only a few seconds of each piece, possibly for performance rights reasons, trying to stay within fair use, or perhaps because while he is playing, Rick can't speak, and I'm not sure how long he can hold out. Of course, the track that Rick introduces with I Know You'll Know It wasn't one that I knew. Most of the tracks, though, are from the 1980s and 2000s, although there is a Beatles song in there. There are two honourable mentions in the list. Okay, I'm going to say it. I don't get it. Couldn't it just be the 12 greatest guitar songs rather than 10 plus 2? Rick is not the only one that does this. I think it's rare to find a top list YouTube video that actually sticks to the number in the title. And if you're wondering what their number one is, just think of the guitar shop scene in Wayne's World. Aside from the miscounting, this is a fun video which has lots of ideas that you might be able to use in your playing. I'll keep this one in mind as my playing gets better, as being able to move some songs to the piano from other instruments is certainly a skill worth having. Fast Car. The choir's upcoming concert has a set list of 24 songs, and it will be performed off-book, so no scores. Of those songs, I can sing along to about a third of them, and not the whole song, but they all need lots of work. So I've put together a playlist in Apple Music so I can listen to them in the car, so that I can learn the words. The exact notes for the parts will come later with the rehearsals. I'm finding that following the printed music to follow the tune is much simpler. And of course, this has got me thinking. Fitting practice in is hard. On and off, I spend about 2 hours each day in the car. It's when I catch up on podcasts or audiobooks. But apart from getting me to and from work, it is otherwise unused time. But with the choir, I can use it much more productively, and that got me thinking, once again, about practicing in general. I enjoy practicing, and I get a bit frustrated when I can't fit enough of it in. Given how many times I've heard that people don't like practicing, I have been thinking about why this is and why perhaps it isn't for others. I don't know who to blame for this, but I like learning new things. Finding something that interests me, but which I don't know a lot about, is really great because it means I can learn some new things. I would expect that most other adults who take up a musical instrument later in life at least feel some of the same excitement at the possibility of expanding their knowledge. After all, none of us is learning because we want to become a rock band keyboard player or classical concert pianist to supplement our income. We're learning because it's fun. I think this is one of the main differences between adult and younger learners. There are a lot of good reasons for children to learn a musical instrument, but children are immersed in learning for a good part of each day. They're at school, possibly practicing a sport, as well as all the other incidental learning that goes on when they are exposed to new situations. Add in some instrument practice, and it's not hard to see why they may not approach learning with the same joy as someone older who has left formal training behind. So, I'm an adult and enjoy the learning, but I'm also an adult and finding the time to sit down for a solid block of practice time is getting harder. Over the past week, there was only one evening when I was home early enough not to have to buy dinner on the way to somewhere. So I'm going to try something after I finish putting this week's episode together. I'm going to rearrange where the Roland FP-90X is sitting. I have the Nord and Kauai set up in the music area. That area also includes the computer for editing the podcast and the bookshelf with all the music books and scores. I go to the music area to practice. The FP-90X is in the spare room and doesn't get much use. I'm going to move it. When I got my first keyboard, I put it in a position where it was almost in the way. Not quite, but I didn't have to go out of my way to get to it. I walked past and could sit down on the bench pretty much any time. I can't do that with the Kauai. If I put it in the hallway where the Roland had been, I'd have to climb over it to get past. But with a bit of rearranging, I can get the FP-90 into a similar position. That way, I can spend a couple of minutes practicing the chord progressions or anything else I've memorized and add a bit more learning. I'm sure that any one session will not be as productive as 30 minutes or so of focus, but it should still make a positive difference over time. Also, if after each sit down I can get up knowing that I've got a little better at whatever it was I practiced, then that should add some fun to the day. I'll let you know how I get on. On Saturday, I went to see Purpose, the next of the plays in my Sydney Theatre Company subscription. I trust the STC to do a good job with their productions. I've never not had an entertaining time, and that even includes when they did Samuel Beckett's Happy Days. So I decided to find out nothing about this play or the production before I went. STC performs a lot of famous works, so often I will know the story before I go. So this was going to be a different experience. The production is at the Wharf Theatre, which was set with a conventional arrangement. There was a single set, a combined living and dining room of an obviously comfortable American home. Mentions of the COVID pandemic early in the play set it in the present. Without knowing what the play was about, I would have said that the setting was perfect for something like a whodunit, where one of the cast is mysteriously murdered in the first act, and then the rest of the play is spent finding out the motive and the perpetrator. If you've seen The Mousetrap, you'll know what I mean. But that's not what the play is about, although there is a Chekhov's gun. The play opens with the main character, Naz, acting like a narrator, setting up the scene, He has returned home for his mother's birthday, and the family drama unfolds. This is helped along by an unexpected visitor. There are lots of revelations, and it becomes clear that the family is well connected and had played a prominent part in the US civil rights movement. The play moves at quite a pace, and the 6 actors who play the roles are all excellent. Given that the play calls for everyone to have American accents, but all the actors are local, they were thoroughly convincing. I had to look at the program just to be sure that they weren't a cast brought in from one of the US productions. The play itself has won awards in the United States over the last 2 years, and it's not hard to see why, given the theme of power and the fallibility of those who wield it. It's an enjoyable 3 hours at the theatre, funny in parts. It is well worth getting out to see it. If you can't get to this production, I'm sure it will be staged in other places, given its award winnings. I'll mention that I thought the end was a bit rushed. The play is called Purpose, but that word doesn't get any use until the last 5 minutes or so, sort of like it was tacked on. So I was wondering during the play why the title is what it is. I've seen my public speaking students do the same thing, getting through their speech, then realise they haven't mentioned the topic, so then they add a sentence or two so the adjudicator knows the theme. And lastly, I do have a staging question. If the visitor was unexpected, and she certainly is in the story, why was the dinner table already set for 6 at the beginning of the play? But none of this takes away from the enjoyment. It is a great play. Coming up this week, I have voice and piano lessons on Monday, choir rehearsal on Thursday, and the semi-final round of the public speaking competition on Friday. And I may be required for the Year 7 camp for the later part of the week. It's looking like another busy one. If you'd like to contact me, email is the best way. You'll find me at david@pianofinally.show and the website at www.pianofinally.show. In both cases, Piano Finally is all one word. The show is also available on Spotify and as an audio-only stream on YouTube. You can subscribe via any popular iOS or Android podcast application or from directories such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. I also post an excerpt and link of each episode as an Instagram reel. If you're learning an instrument, or perhaps singing in a choir, let me know where you are in your journey. What's going well? What are you enjoying the most? And so until next week, I hope your piano stays in tune and you enjoy your time at the keys. Once more, it was a difficult week to get enough practice in. An extra evening of choir practice and the public speaking competition, and then really just needing an early night on Saturday meant I got less than half as much done as I wanted. Next week, maybe even less if I end up going on the Year 7 camp. I'm still working on the chord progressions, but I'm doing a bit more with them. I started with the chords in my left hand in root positions, and then with inversions. I've tried coordinating the chords with both hands, but that is still proving difficult. So Devi has me playing octaves with my left hand and the chords higher up with my right. Moving between them is getting better, except for the F major 7 chord, which still takes a little while to get my fingers to. I'm still enjoying C Song. It's getting to the point where I know the music, but I still need to get more comfortable with it and get it up to speed, of course. And I'm still refining Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata and probably will be for a long time. The chord progression was recorded with the Nord Stage 4 using a combination of the fan club piano and the B3 organ. I think this is a copy of a setting in one of D Soundman's videos. He didn't give it out, but I liked the sound and paused the video. I'm not sure if I've got it right, but it sounds okay. The piano pieces were recorded using Cubase 15, running on an M4 Pro Mac Mini with Pianotech 9 emulating a Shigeru Kawai SKEX grand piano in concert recording mode. And of course the Kawai NV10 was used to play the notes.